Wife wanted an open relationship. She wanted to close it when her boyfriend left country. She is now mad that I divorced her. For years I thought our love was enough. We were ordinary, maybe even enviable to those who watch from the outside. Stability, shared laughter, familiar comfort. But comfort has its own rut, doesn't it? The edges soften until you don't notice the decay. She was restless before I ever admitted it. She came to me with the idea of an open marriage like it was a lifeline. This will save us. This will make us new again. I hesitated. God knows I hesitated. But love does strange things. I wanted her happy, even if it meant pulling myself into places I didn't belong. So I agreed, on the condition of rules. Rules that seemed solid at the time. No friends. No entanglements without disclosure. Hookups fine, but relationships flagged. Looking back, I see the moment I signed my consent as the first cut of the blade. She adapted quickly. Too quickly. Apps, profiles, a sudden bloom of strangers in her bed. She was giddy, like a teenager sneaking kisses behind the bleachers. I stumbled at first. Hookups here and there, more for the sake of symmetry than desire. But something shifted when I invented Max. At first, Max was a shield, a story to make her feel I was keeping pace. I met her at a club. I told her. She's cute. She nodded, almost relieved, as though she needed me distracted so her own conscience could rest. But Max wasn't just a lie. Max was real. Not to her, though. Max was a man, and he was everything she wasn't prepared for. I had always been vanilla, she said. Safe, predictable, willing to indulge her kinks, but half-hearted, awkward, dutiful. She wasn't wrong. I wore restraint like a badge. Max dismantled it. With him, there were no boundaries left untouched. He brought me toys, outfits, scripts of pleasure and pain. He pushed me until the man I had been, the docile husband, the compromise, was unrecognizable. I didn't just enjoy it. I thrived. Every bruise, every restraint, every whispered command built me into someone new. Not a passenger in my own marriage, but a creature capable of desire, cruelty, control. When she found the box, the toys, the leather, I felt a flicker of fear. She asked, could we try these? I agreed, half out of pity. But lying beside her, her body moving in rehearsed motions, I realized something staggering. I felt nothing. The box wasn't for her. It was mine. Ours. Mine and Max's. 4 years she paraded Jake in front of me. Handsome, charming, all the things she said I lacked. I tolerated him, shook his hand, poured him a drink in my living room. Watched her eyes glow in a way they hadn't for me in years. She thought my silence was acceptance. It was study. I catalogued every glance, every slip of guilt she tried to hide. Meanwhile, Max stayed in the shadows. She never met him, never pushed. Perhaps she assumed he was a flimsy cover for my pride. Let her think it. Her arrogance blinded her. The truth is, I had built a second life, a parallel existence richer than anything she could imagine. And while she leaned on Jake for passion, I was discovering mine with Max. When Jake left, transferred overseas, unwilling to nurture the long distance, I watched her unravel. She cried in my arms. She whispered apologies into my chest. She clung to me like I was suddenly her anchor again. For the first time in years, I felt power tip in my direction. She told me she wanted to close the marriage, that she hadn't touched anyone else since Jake, that she only wanted me now. I looked at her, mascara streaked and lips trembling, and realized how small she was, how much she had gambled and lost. I told her no. Her shock was almost comical. But why? Don't you want us back? I didn't. Not in the way she imagined. I wanted freedom. I wanted maximum. I wanted her to feel the imbalance she had forced on me, to choke on it. When I said no, she called me unfair. She called me cruel. She told me to leave. So I did. Straight into Max's arms. Love stories end here, in slammed doors and teary ultimatums. But I was just beginning. I knew her patterns. She thrived on control, on orchestrating reality to fit her needs. By leaving, by refusing, I shattered her script. And once she was off balance, I planned my next move. Every shared account, every message, every receipt, I gathered it. Quietly, methodically. She thought herself clever hiding Jake under work trips and late nights. But digital footprints never fade. I built a dossier, a careful, meticulous record of her indiscretions. Not to confront her with, no, that would be wasteful. This was ammunition for later, for the war she didn't yet know we were fighting. I filed with precision. Calm, almost gentle. She screamed. She pleaded. She accused me of betrayal, of throwing away what we had. And I smiled. 4 years I had begged silently for her attention, her fidelity, her love. Now she begged, and I had nothing left to give. Her lawyer was unprepared for what mine unveiled. The evidence, the pattern, the neglect, the financial contributions I had carried alone while she spent nights tangled in sheets with Jake. She lost ground fast. Property division bent my way. Accounts tipped into my control. Her pride, once untouchable, cracked visibly in that sterile courtroom. I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't need to gloat. My silence did the work. My composure was the knife twisting deeper than any shouted accusation. And now here I sit, writing this. The ink on the divorce papers dry. Her belongings stripped to the minimum the court allowed. Her eyes hollow when we cross paths for the final time. She wanted freedom, once. She wanted excitement, passion, adventure. She gambled a marriage for it. And in the end, she was the one discarded. Max waits for me now, stronger by my side than I ever was alone. Together we carve me into someone I respect, someone I fear a little, someone I embrace fully. Do I love her still, the woman I once called wife? In a way, the way you love a scar that reminds you of survival. But I do not miss her. I do not forgive her. I destroyed her not with rage, but with calm inevitability. And that, I think, is the purest revenge. If she reads this someday, she'll ask why. Why I didn't simply leave quietly, why I orchestrated the ruin. The answer is simple. Because I could. Because she underestimated me. Because love, once twisted, doesn't simply vanish. It hardens, sharpens, becomes a blade. And because, after years of being the man who bent to her desires, it was finally my turn to stand unyielding. This is not a confession. This is a coronation. I am no longer her husband. I am what she created and what she destroyed. And I am free.